So the last thing for safety we're going to talk about is elopement. Now we're not talking Vegas, baby. We're talking when a person with an altered sense of some confusion or dementia they leave a designated area without staff. Now I can't stress how important it is you always know where your residents are. Now these residents are pretty tricky. They have moments of lucidity and they can figure out how to get outdoors or figure out door codes. Now, most facilities, we have a code. Sometimes we have to put a code in to go in or push a doorbell, but to get out, there's always a door code so that somebody who doesn't need to be out wandering by themselves can't get out by themselves. If it's somebody who we have a problem slipping out or they talk somebody into letting them out the door, we will put what is called a wander guard. A wander guard is a bracelet, kind of like what we put on infants when they're born, so that nobody steals the babies off the OB floor. We will put a bracelet on a resident, and when they get too close to a door, it sets off a different sounding alarm than the door alarm. We call it a wander guard. So we use these to help keep track of people that have gotten out before or at risk of getting out. Now, I was doing clinicals over Christmas time one time. It was a Saturday, and the Wonder Guard kept going off. And I'm like, why isn't anybody shutting this off? So I walked to the front door, and here's this little old lady, and she's shoving this walker in the back of the car, you know, having a heck of a time. And little old guy sitting in the front seat. And I thought, oh, I said, I'm sorry, did you check him out this morning? And she goes, never do. And I said, oh, really? Can you tell me his name, where he lives? And so I got that. I went back in. I go running down the hall to the facility, find an aide I know, and I'm like, Bob, so-and-so's going out with his wife. And he looked at me and goes, Michelle, he's not married. So he and I go running, and we find the nurse and tell the nurse, and the nurse is like, I don't have him scheduled to go out. So all three of us go running back to the front door, only to find the receptionist resetting the Wonder Guard alarm, and the car's long gone. And we're like, the nurse is like, did you see what color of the car? Did you get a license plate? What direction did they go? Da-da-da, what'd she look like? And the receptionist goes, well, why? That's his girlfriend. They go up for breakfast every Saturday morning. Nobody knew. Guys, that only the receptionist knew. That's not okay. We are liable for our residents. When they leave our facility, we need to know where they're going, who they're with, because we're still responsible for them. Thank goodness they have now instituted that the receptionist has to verify they can leave the building and sign the resident out. I was telling that story, and I had a guy in my class. He goes, I got a better one. I was dietary aide, and I came in at 6 o'clock in the morning, just kind of drinking my coffee, and I look, and there's this aide just running down the hall, right? And he's like, do you need help? What's going on? And she's pointing at the window. And so he looked out the window, and here's this little old lady in her wheelchair just wheeling as fast as she can across the parking lot. And this nurse is just running, trying to catch her. And right before the nurse got to her, this resident fell face first onto the concrete. He said she had black eyes. She's road rash on her face. The lady had figured out the door code and gotten out. Now, we talk about that they have moments that they have lucidity. They know what's going on or how to get out a door, or that they want out, right? Because they feel like they want to go home, and this isn't their home, right? One of the funniest things that happened to me, my first day at clinicals, we were going into a locked unit, a memory care unit. I was following the other teacher, and I just barely get in the door. And this little old lady, she's got her coat on, her purse, her hair's done, she's got makeup on. She puts her arm in mine. She says, okay, I'm ready. And I said, ready for what? She goes, ready to go. And I'm thinking I'm being therapeutic. I'm like, oh, have we had breakfast yet? And she goes, oh, forget breakfast. You know what they're doing here is not right. Let's go. And of course, the nurse is sitting in the nurse's station laughing herself to death because I'm sitting there going, not knowing what to do. Well, they're pretty tricky. And they will try and get out no matter what means, right? When we went to leave, I noticed she had this big picture of her on the back of the door, because I must not have been the only sucker that walked in there that she tried to convince to get her out. So these people think they need out, right? And they don't know where they are. And so they will figure out some way to get out, and then they don't know what to do. Little towns, the nursing homes are a lot of time backed up to wheat fields or cornfields. Sometimes people elope, get lost in a cornfield, and they find the body a few days later. My grandfather had Alzheimer's. He was 6'7", tall, skinny guy, and my grandma was 4'11", little, short, little petite thing. And my grandpa was an alcoholic and had Alzheimer's, severe Alzheimer's. And so my grandmother was very spunky, and she was going to take care of him till the day she died, and she did. But so we moved him into town. We thought we had hidden all the car keys and the truck keys. He had a farm truck that was in the back garage. The garage was locked. We thought the car keys were all gone out of the house, and somehow, even being confused, he found keys to get in that back garage. He found a set of keys for a farm truck. Now, his farm truck was 3 on a tree. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't have a normal gear shift. It has a gear shifter on the steering column. And so you go by, you clutch and click, click, click. You know you're in first, and click, click, click second, right? So it's not easy to drive. But he managed to get in that truck, get on a highway, and drive about 20 miles until he realized he didn't know what he was doing and parked in the middle of the street. That's what happens, guys. They might have enough knowledge to get out, but usually it's short-lived and they don't know what to do once they're out. We got to know where our residents are. If that wonder guard goes off, you need to be checking your wandering patients. You need to know where they are. Now, my grandfather, this says about Alzheimer's, but he literally, like 2 days before he died, he was not eating, he wasn't drinking, he was completely incontinent, he wasn't, didn't know anybody or anything. But my mom took his guitar, his 12-string guitar, and he could still play the Spanish waltz. Music is stored in a different area. So that's why we like to use music for residents. Now, there are videos further on Diane's videos, how to deal with people with dementia. Do those skills. Use music. Go to where they are, right? If they want to go for a walk with them, right? Sometimes that's all it takes. They want to go outside. Take them for a walk. Now, remember that elopement is an incident, and we have to do an incident report. So make sure you're filling those out completely. If you find somebody missing, report it immediately. Help people if they're looking for somebody. Know the policies and procedures, the Wonder Guard codes, things like that, where they're located. We're not talking Vegas, baby. Keep those residents safe.